from Humility and Doxology. I hope that you are enjoying your new year, 2019. It's been a bit of a rough start for our family. We still are dealing with a stomach bug. So any of you other mamas out there who have many children know that once one gets sick, they just keep reinfecting each other. It never goes away. But I'm praying that it will have a quick resolution because we are supposed to get back to school starting next Monday. So in the midst of cleaning up and dealing with sick little guys, I've been typing up our new memory work for the spring semester and updating the weekly assignment lists. And I still have to update my mom check-in checklist. But one of the things that has been so much fun this winter break is I have read a ton of picture books, a ton of new ones, at least new to me. Some of them are legitimately new-ish. And I already had like 2 baskets from the library when my brother and his family came to town. And one of the things I adore about my sister-in-law is that she and I can both go to a library and say, oh, well, we aren't going to get anything today. And then we come out and we've like maxed out our library cards. And it is so much fun to go to the library with her because you can get into sort of a routine where you know your authors and illustrators, you go to the same part of the library. But when you go with someone new, you're exposed to books that they have loved and you kind of share titles and it's just so much fun. So some of these, I can't remember which ones, but a good number of these are recommendations for my sister-in-law, and then some weren't, and then they just all came into a big pile in my basket. But these are some of the ones that have especially stood out to us. So they're in no particular order. I have all the titles listed in the description, and I'm just going to go through and show them to you really quickly. So one, and actually I do remember how I found out about this one. This is called A Web by Isabel Simler. And actually at a library story time, they read another one of her books called Plume. These are gorgeous. If your family loves nature study, the illustrations in this book are detailed and fascinating. Oh, they're just so beautiful. So this particular one also has like a bit of a spider, and you kind of find a piece of a spider in each illustration is hiding because at the end, the spider has created a web. Plume, which I don't have, which was where I first heard about this author illustrator, has like a piece of a cat in each page spread, and the illustrations are focused on birds and feathers. Gorgeous. So highly recommend A Web or other books that you can find by Isabel Simler for your nature study science. Some of these, if you have an artistic kid, would be perfect to like copy. I wish I could draw like this, but they're just gorgeous. If you follow at Humility and Doxology on Instagram, you saw when I mentioned this. I didn't realize until I started typing up the titles that I actually have 3 Philip Stead, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, books in this stack, which is no accident. We love his illustrations. He illustrated 6 Day for Amos McGee. But this particular book is dedicated to anyone who's having a bad day. This author cares about you, and it's such a sweet story. There's this splash of yellow that kind of represents hope and friendship. Everything is sort of dreary, sort of a blue day. So themes of love and friendship and hope, and look, at the end, there's joy. So highly recommend any books really written or illustrated by Philip Stead, S-T-E-A-D. So this is one I do know was a recommendation from my sister-in-law, Mary and the Mouse, and the Mouse and Mary. Mary lived in a big house with a very little mouse. Every night after dinner, Mary accidentally, on purpose, dropped her fork so she could wave at the mouse. After dinner all those same nights, the mouse accidentally, on purpose, dropped her spoon so she could wave at Mary. My girls thought this was pretty funny. Okay, so another nature study book. And this one, I believe I actually found by searching for the, by searching for the publisher. I was double checking. I have found I like almost everything I've ever checked out by Candlewick Press. And so I don't know if you've ever done this, but if you find that there are several books you love and they're all from the same publisher, you can actually go to your library catalog and search, and depending on your catalog, it may be different, but you can keyword search that publisher. So I just keyword searched Candlewick Press and went through and clicked on titles that looked like ones we would enjoy. So this one is called Little Fox in the Snow. Now, one caveat, you have some animals that get eaten, and there's a little real life, this is like the story of a fox in the snow. But again, beautiful illustrations, very, very beautiful. I definitely recommend this one. And it's perfect too for like winter because it's in the snow. So if you were looking for a winter themed picture book. Well, I still have a stack here, so I'm going to stop talking so much about all these. I just love them all, and I want to tell you all about them, and I'm just going to run through them a little more quickly. We'll see. If you've never read the Tim books, check them out. They are a hoot. Great words, great language, great illustrations. Lois Ehlert is familiar to many of us, and I had never read this particular book by her. It's called Hands, Growing Up to Be an Artist. And it kind of talks a little bit, it's almost a little memoir-y about her father and her mother and her growing up to be an artist. This one we probably read 3 dozen times over Christmas break. It's called Extra Yarn. You're probably familiar with the author and the illustrator. Great story. Simple. Basically it talks about the way something simple can, acts of service and kindness can change a gloomy town, and how someone who doesn't understand the value of the gift could try to just steal what they perceive to sort of be this great result, the magic of it, and then it doesn't work for them. So really beautiful story. Oh, here's another Philip Stead book, Special Delivery. This one is so funny. Such great illustrations. A little girl who's trying to get an elephant to her aunt. Okay, so English is Crazy. This book is the worst alphabet book ever. I don't know about you, but I can't stand alphabet books where it'll say something like, C is for chicken, where you're like, no, I'm trying to teach my children the sound of the letter, and you get like a diphthong or a rule breaker or something. So this takes that very seriously, and all of the alphabet words are rule breakers. A is for aisle. So it's pretty funny. I wouldn't recommend this to someone who is just beginning to read or learning phonics. That would be confusing. But actually, this is a picture book that your older kids, you could enjoy with your older children or the whole family during like a morning time. So my little guy, my 3-year-old, loves trucks. Construction. We actually own one by Sally Sutton called Roadwork, but really excellent. This is my 6-year-old daughter's current favorite book. Shirley Hughes is an author that my sister-in-law has recommended. So I do know that this one was from her. And this is a delightful story. You'll notice that all of these I love have great illustrations. Just look at that. Ah, isn't that beautiful? So Daisy Dobbs starts as a scullery maid in a grand house, but her greatest day comes when disaster strikes and only Daisy can save the day. So a very fun story. This is called The Doorbell Ring by Pat Hutchins. And you begin at the beginning of the story where Mom is making some cookies, and they figure out how many each child can have. They can share them, and so they divide them up. That's 6 each. But then the doorbell begins to ring, and more children begin to come. And so those dozen cookies have to be divided smaller and smaller. And at the end, each child only has 1 cookie, and the doorbell rings again. So you have to find out what's going to happen. But I recommend this story. It's a little gentle math, too. A little math, a little sharing, just a sweet story. Amos and Boris. This is great. This would be a perfect picture book for an older child, actually, to compare and contrast to the Aesop fable about the lion and the mouse. But it's just great. And William, I'm terrible about pronouncing these authors. William Steig. Let me know in the comments how to pronounce these. He's, a great author and illustrator, and this is a wonderful story of friendship and service and adventure. One of my favorite new to me books is Hello, Lighthouse by Sophie Blackall. If you have not read this book, go check it out. I don't care if you have little children or not. You need to read this book. It is beautiful, just beautiful. And it's like tall, like a lighthouse. Just everything about this. Oh, I just love this book. Look at these. Look at these pictures. They are beautiful. So beautiful. And so it's the story of a family, the 4, as a lighthouse keeper. So there's a little bit of history too. And actually at the back of the book, the author gives you some actual historical background. But absolutely beautiful. Highly recommend this one. Go put it on hold right now. The Full Belly Bowl. I read this one actually just this morning to the kids. Again, beautiful illustrations. It's a bit of a fable. So when the old man rescues a wee little man, he is given a treasure, a bowl that will refill itself. And he has to learn how to use it wisely. So hijinks ensue, as you can imagine. But really beautiful. Oh, another beautiful one, especially if, like me, you are in a place where it is just dreary out and has felt extra dreary this winter weather-wise, and you just kind of are hoping for spring to bring sunshine and flowers. The Gardener. Oh, this book. It's by Sarah Stewart, and it is a Caldecott Honor book. Let's see the little silver thing. And she, I believe, is the one who wrote, yes, The Library. She's the same one who wrote The Library. But the illustrations, again, are impeccable. And it's all written in the form of letters. So that's really unique. It's a little girl writing letters. It's set during the Depression era. So this would be perfect for so many, like if you're studying the Depression era, if you're wanting to gently introduce different literary forms, like books written in the form of letters. If you're studying gardening, this would be a good one, or baking, or you just want a really good story. It's a story about family and planting and growing and blooming where you're planted. Really, really good one. Okay, so I told you I had 3 Philip Stead books. Here's another one, A Home for Bird. So this little guy here, Vernon, he finds a bird, and he's trying to find where the bird's home is and to help his friend, but the bird won't talk or move, and so he has to carry him everywhere to try to find a home for him. And so there's some hints at the beginning of the book, actually before the story starts. There is a picture on the title page here, or on the copyright page, and you get a little hint about where the bird might have come from. So there's clues all along the way until the end. The bird gets home. It's a very sweet story. Then the final one I have here for you today, and I promise, like, this is less than I actually have downstairs in my library basket. I tried to make the list short, but it's just hard for me. You know, books are my love language. So it was hard to keep the list this short. But here is a really fascinating story. obviously a retelling of The Princess and the Pea. Well, not really a retelling, a version, I guess, something inspired by. It's called Princess and the Peas. And this is Princess here. And this story is set in the middle of the 20th century, mid or last third. And it's all about this wonderful community and Ma Sally and her son, and he needs a wife, but Ma Sally is the best cook in Charleston County, and so she's determined that he will not get married until she has tested the women who want to marry him. Here are the women who want to marry him. She tests them to see who can cook the best black-eyed peas, and that's the only way that they are going to get her son. That doesn't turn out so well for them, and so then we have Princess. And then at the end, there is a recipe and a little bit of a historical note. So this was really just quirky and different, and I always enjoy kind of a retelling of a fairy tale, or when an author makes it their own, puts a little twist on it. Phew, so I am just about out of breath going through all those books. Hopefully no one has been sick while I've been in here. I think everyone was settled down, so I'm going to go check on them. Oh, I did want to mention, do you see my white twinkly lights back there? We are experiencing rain that literally is breaking records here in North Carolina. And I like rain, but the gray is starting to get to me. I don't know how you folks in the Pacific Northwest do that. But one of the things that I am doing to bring a little joy and delight to my day is I strung up some white twinkly lights in my bedroom. And this is one of 19 simple ways to pursue joy in 2019. And I put that link down in the description too. So check that out, and also make sure you are following along the videos and printables for the year of memory work with humility and doxology. Well, please let me know what are some picture books or other books you have been enjoying recently. And I look forward to putting those on hold at my library. Talk to you guys later.